Hello and welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture we are going to learn how we could go ahead and iterate over an numpy array. That is basically how we could go ahead and get each and every element of a particular numpy array. So iterating a single dimensional array is actually quite easier, but the problem arises when we want to iterate a multi-dimensional array. So in order to iterate a multi-dimensional array, numpy package actually contains an iterator object, and that iterator object is called as the numpy.nditer, which allows us to iterate through an array. So it's actually an efficient multi-dimensional iterator object using which it is possible to iterate over an array. And the thing about this is that each element of an array is visited using Python standard iterator interface. So what we will do here is that we will basically go ahead and create a 3x4 array using arrange method or arrange function, and we are actually going to try to iterate it using the nditer function or method. So let's go ahead and create the numpy array first. So let's go ahead, create array. So a is going to be equal to np dot, that's going to be arrange, and let's pass in a few values. So let's say we want to go from 0 to 60 with a step of 5. So this is the kind of array we want to create, and also we want this array to be of the shape 3x4. So we will type in a dot reshape and pass in 3,4 over here. So once we have it, let's go ahead and print out the array so as to have a look how this thing actually looks like. So when I run this code over here, as you could see, this is the array and these are the elements inside our array. Now iterating this thing is actually quite simple. What you simply need to do here is that you need to use a for loop to iterate through it. So we'll type for x, and let's say x is going to be a variable which is going to store the value. So for x in, and then you type in np, which is the numpy, and then type in nditer, which is our method. Now to this method or to this function, you basically need to pass in the name of your array which you want to iterate. So we want to iterate through a, and what that is actually going to do is that it's actually going to iterate through the array and get each of its element, and it's actually going to store that element into the variable x. So now you have all the elements in variable x. You simply have to print those values by typing print x, and once you run this code, as you could see, you have all of your elements inside your multi-dimensional array over here. So this is how you could actually go ahead and access those elements over here. So you could perform some kind of manipulation operations over here as well. So you could also type in x plus 5 in order to add 5 to each of those array elements. So if you run this code, as you could see, now you have 5 added to each of those multi-dimensional array elements. So that's how you could basically go ahead and iterate through a particular multi-dimensional array by using this special method, which is nditer. So the only thing which you have to keep in mind is that you have to use a for loop to iterate through it, and you need to use this method nditer and pass in the array name to that particular method. So that's it for this lecture, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.